sometimes a title will make your decision on something alone. Sometimes the title of something colors your expectations for anything. And let's give you a good example. When you ever hear of Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, that is going to color your general first reaction to, seeing it. Like, you're going to be like, oh, sweet man, I'm watching a movie called Killer Tomatoes. And then you have someone else going, you want me to fucking watch a movie called Attack of the Killer Tomatoes? What? No. Doctor Who's definitely no exception to this rule. Because, being a show that's serialized and all that, there are titles. Some titles are interesting and welcoming, like An Unearthly Child, or The Unquiet Dad, The Curse of Fenric. Some are a little more cheesy B-movie titles, like The Ambassadors of Death, or The Mind Robber, or Attack of the Cybermen. I'm not going to say titles mean everything. But sometimes a title kind of makes you worry. Like, again, you like The Mind Robber, you're like, ooh, a surreal kind of sci-fi piece. Hopefully it doesn't involve switching bodies. Because that was my initial worry. I'm like, if this is a body switching episode, which I haven't encountered yet on Doctor Who. I don't know. I don't think they ever did it in the classic series. Big Finish may have unfortunately done it. But I don't think Doctor Who's ever done that. But anyway, I bring this up because, and I'm calling you out on this one because I know you'll appreciate this, but I got a request from Vacuuminator. That's at least the name I call him by. That's what he goes by on Twitter. He's changed his channel up a couple times. But when I did one of the request videos for this Doctor Who week, I, asked for anything. And then I got Horror of Glam Rock. Let me repeat that. Horror of Glam Rock. First off, someone replied to his comment with LOL. And to the few people who I've said I'm planning on doing it for this Doctor Who week, they simply said, Horror of Glam Rock. Someone corrected me and thought I meant Horror of Fang Rock. No. I haven't seen that yet. And then everyone else kept simply saying, I don't fucking want to know what that's about. And that's kind of the thing. Horror of Glam Rock is a very, very polarizing kind of title. So much that I'm spending 3 minutes explaining it. Now, the thing is, that just makes you ask, I wonder what's in it. Now, the glam rock connection to it is, nothing really new. There was a band called the Time Lords back in 1988. They, let's see, glam rock, especially in the 80s, wasn't a big shocking thing to do with Doctor Who. Let me point that out. It's not like the connection. It's not like this thing's a huge shocker. Oh, combining, that kind of music with Doctor Who. They did it back when that music was, well, the thing. But the thing is, the genre of music doesn't play a giant role, but yet it does. The basic story is this. On their way to get Lucy back to her home time, even though the Time Lords won't allow it, they've installed some sort of weird fixture that in the TARDIS that basically prevents them from going to that time or that place. Cool. And they find themselves stuck in 1974, about the time glam rock was kicking in. Now, at this, they find themselves at this diner. But they meet the Tomorrow Twins, who are these brother and sister duo, who are the, you know, up and coming stars, and this diner's ran by all these people who were popular at the time, but you know, one hit wonders, which is, I don't know, for some reason one hit wonders I always think of the 80s and 70s, and to a lesser extent 90s. I don't like to think of 2000s music a lot now, so and there's something strange happening. Some sort of musical alien influence, we'll call it, is taking over the brother of the musical duo, and the diner's attacked by a pack of hungry monsters, essentially. And the thing is, this story, I can say this with all the sincerity in the world, it is fun. That's what the horror is. After a big, heavy Dalek story, acting as a huge opening to this, because this is the third story in the first season. I'm going by season of the new Eighth Doctor adventure line that Big Finish had at the time, which was separate from the monthly range. So it makes sense. Let's have the we had the big sci-fi action piece that used prevalent villain, introduced companion. You had to do a lot. Here, it's just fun. We're just gonna have kind of a fun time. Go to a very nostalgic place in history, music. It's kind of cool to see a pop culture kind of like, because you're used to when they go through history, them like meeting Hitler and meeting all the different kings, like meeting some of the shit that, in all honesty, you may not care about because you hated history class as a kid or as a teenager. Here they're visiting, pop culture history, which sometimes has more relevance to regular people than regular history. It's kind of sad as that sounds. So from this, the adventure is essentially figuring out why these monsters are here, getting rid of the threat, and I kind of tune it very close to, because the horror part of it's a lot more focused on the horror part of the title. I don't know if anyone's seen this movie, but a good example I'm thinking of is Tremors. It's that kind of horror movie to where people are being attacked by a monster and you want to see them make it out. Even the rock duo's manager, who's at the beginning a stuck-up asshole who only cares about making money and has somewhat of a history with the people who run the diner, because he was basically the guy who cared about them when they were hot, but as soon as they were kind of losing steam, he forgot about them because he's in the business of making money. Really sad part of it. That's a sad thing. Like, oh yeah, music's great. The industry could eat you alive. And the best part is he's played by Bernard Cribbins, who played Donna's granddad, and he's hilarious. And he somehow, I don't know how, but he manages to play like the likable asshole somehow. Like, yeah, he's clearly being somewhat of an ass, but he's kind of somewhat redeemed. He's willing to actually, sacrifice himself and all that. He starts out like an ass, but you start liking him. What else was there? I'm trying to think of all of them. Because it wasn't a huge cast, because it is basically taking place in this one diner. Location doesn't change after that. It's just the surrounding area. It's somewhat like that movie Legion, except it doesn't suck. And the people who run the diner, they're somewhat funny, but they're likable people. One character we meet that's kind of cool to see is Lucy's Aunt Pat, Auntie Pat, who was a big influence on her. Of course, this is her in her future. Lucy, who gives absolutely no regards to the laws of time travel, absolutely no regards to the laws of time travel, tells her without any hesitation, "Oi, I'm your grandniece or whatever," and this tells her stuff about the future. Doesn't give a crap. I love that for some reason. It's just like, okay, she's aware of what the Time Lords are and well, time travel works, and yet she doesn't seem to be giving it any. Who cares? I'm just happy to see my aunt, especially when she was young. You did get that. You really did get the feeling that she is meeting her aunt. That's a good thing about Sheridan Smith, who plays Lucy. She interacted insanely well with her. With I'm calling them Tomorrow Twins. The one who's not just basically possessed by an alien force, she gets along with very well. The twins themselves, the brother has to carry something more important because he's connected to the alien force, so he kind of has to, act like an alien, but still act like kind of a teenager or a young 20-year-old. And he gets kind of annoying at times because it's that, "I hear you, great magic. What do you want?" Like, it's just like, we get it. He's not normal. Shut him up. But he's still likable. Like, towards the end, it gets tougher only because he lays it on thick for a while. But you can kind of understand it. It's like he's on a drug that's feeding him, and he's like, "They're coming to contact me." And again, he's not amazing, but he's serviceable, I guess is the word I'm going for. Paul McGann's great in this. I love the fact that he's very nostalgic about rock music in this era. I don't know why. I just love that. Like, we're kind of used to other versions of the Doctor being all like, "I love classical music," or "that damn racket needs to stop." And Tennant kind of plays that off. Excited to go to music. Excited about all different facets. But all of them really did play like either as aliens or as old men who don't like that kind of music. It's cool to see him kind of act like that kind of guy. And also him and Lucy get along really well. You start seeing that they, because the opening scene of their first story was him insanely annoyed that she was randomly beamed into his TARDIS. Here, he's kind of slowly getting used to her company. They can laugh. They still kind of throw pot shots at each other because neither of them wanted this to begin with. That's the thing. They're forced into this, but are making the best of it. But yeah, it's a really fun story. It's very much filler besides like this last little revelation, because it building up to the end of the season a lot like the modern series. But all in all, it's a very good somewhat standalone piece. You learn a little about Lucy, a little bit more about Lucy, and it's simply just a run away from the monsters kind of story.